Greetings, peace and blessings to you, your family, and loved ones. My name is Nana Baakan, and today I want to share with you the life path reading I got for Donald J. Trump. I just received this reading a couple of weeks ago when I was consulting the I Ching, or some call it the Jing. For starters, the I Ching is an ancient Chinese oracle system that dates back 5,000 years. Back in those days, it was primarily used by a select group of individuals who were advisors to the emperor at that time. Nowadays, the I Ching has become more of a tool for anyone who wishes to consult it. The more contemporary versions are reflective of contemporary times. As for myself, I rely upon the I Ching, or Book of Changes, by Richard Wilhelm and Baynes, as you can see here. You will notice that the cover of the book is golden, but you will also notice that it has a cover. The cover is gray. So sometimes when you're searching for this book, you may see either the book with the gray cover, or you may see it just with the golden cover. That's the same book. And remember, it's by Richard Wilhelm and Baynes. So be sure to notice that you have that particular text. It's considered a classic, so you want to make sure that you have that in your library of I Ching books. It's not the easiest book to read or understand. So what I also advise or suggest that my students use this book as a companion, the I Ching Workbook by R.L. Wing. What she does in this book is give you a more contemporary understanding of what Wilhelm-Baynes is interpreting from the Mandarin language. We use this as a companion just to give us more insight. Sometimes people become more dependent on the workbook, which is okay, I think. I like the workbook because it does have a few pages in the back that you can write notes in, and it also has sections for each hexagram where you can write notes as well. Another book that I use is called the I Ching New Interpretation for Modern Times by Sam Reifler. I like this book because Sam takes a moment in each of his interpretations to discuss what's happening in the spirit realm, what's happening in the physical realm, and what's happening in the personal realm. Next, I like the book by Carol Anthony. In fact, it's one of my very favorites, and it has helped me in understanding the I Ching a little better because her approach is, why did you get that reading? It's called The Philosophy of the I Ching. Next, a series of books written by two psychologists. This book here is called Connecting Lines, and this book focuses on relationships. This book focuses on, by the same guys, but it focuses more on business. And Healing Lines focuses on health. I like that as well. Now this book is interesting. This book is called The Kuan Yin, or Book of Changes, by Diane Stein. Now what Diane does is she correlates the hexagrams in a feminine voice, relating every hexagram from a feminine perspective. It's an interesting feminist perspective on the I Ching. Here is a book called The Astrology of the I Ching, and what it does is a couple of versions of that. This one is another version of that, and what it does is it describes you as an individual and what your portents would be in terms of if you got this particular reading when you were born. Now this book is interesting. I find it to be very helpful when you lose something and you want to figure out where it is. It also talks about sickness, different types of conditions, and what they show you through the readings. The Tao of Pooh. This is a cute little book, but it also is a fun read. Now, Madut Nater. was written by Ra-Un-Nefer-Amen from the Aser-Aset Society. So those of you out there who are familiar with the Aser-Aset Society, typically you're going to be utilizing this version of the I Ching or Book of Changes. Here's the compilation of the various books that I work with in my workshops and also in the readings that I do for others. So let's go back and look at what is a life path reading. A life path reading can be the most important reading that you will ever receive. Like an astrology reading, it lays out a blueprint of your life and gives you keen insight into the purpose as to why your soul, your particular soul, incarnated at this point in the cycle. This reading will outline your strengths and weaknesses, what you have come here to learn, and what you have come here to teach. We are all students as well as teachers in this life. It will point out the many challenges you have met along the way and give you keen insight into why they have occurred. I find it to be an invaluable tool for reflection long term, as a reference when certain issues and concerns arise in your life. This reading can be done at any time. Now, in the ancient times, it was done when you were born. Nowadays, in modern times, we may not get this particular reading until we're much older or have become more interested in things like astrology, tarot reading, or something of that nature. And so I suggest that you don't worry about what age you are when you come to get this reading from me. It will still give you the insights that you need, that talks to you about the lessons you need to learn, the teachings that you're going to be giving to others through your life experience, your strengths and your weaknesses. And like I said before, it's only done once, but we can always go back and reflect on it as certain situations, scenarios, and experiences occur in your life. So it's only done once, but it will follow you for your entire life. I've done life path readings for newborns and for the elders. One person I did a life path reading for was in their 60s, and it still revealed to them a lot about themselves. I'm going to leave a link to the life path reading video that I made several years ago so that you can get even more deeper insight into what a life path reading is all about. For anyone who's interested in getting a psychic reading, I strongly suggest that you get a life path reading before you get any other, and it will be a good reference point for you as we go through other concerns and situations in your life that you want to get more insight into. Now, I do spiritual counseling, and I use the I Ching or the Yi Jing for readings, and I do them via the Zoom app. I've worked with clients from around the globe, and before YouTube deleted my channel, I had a lot of reach, and a lot of people would reach out to me and ask for a reading. Some of those people came from Australia, Haiti, Spain, Germany, Nigeria, the Philippines, Liberia, Morocco, Namibia. I mean, I can continue on listing the individuals that I've worked with over the past 20, 30 years. I've also worked with a lot of people from around the United States. I'm also available for workshops on understanding the I Ching. In the description below, you will see a link to a supplemental guide that I offer my students. I would like for you to just look at it and maybe you could use it. I find it to be a great tool for helping you to understand the I Ching. I'm going to show you here what that supplemental study guide looks like. And don't worry, I'm going to get to the reading. I just wanted to give you some insights into how and what is going on with my workshops and with the life path reading. Just to give you a general perspective. There's a lot that goes on, but I just wanted to preface the actual reading with some other information. So here we go. Here's the supplemental study guide. First, we want to look at preparing yourself. As you can see, we have an individual or a representative of an individual who is centering their mind. You must center your mind before you start tossing and asking questions of the I Ching. Otherwise, the I Ching will respond to where you are emotionally. Sometimes we get anxious and we want to get an answer right away. And the oracle really likes for you to have a conversation. Calm down, have a conversation. And one of the things that you will learn in my workshops is how to ask the oracle. The oracle does not particularly respond to yes or no questions. It likes to have a conversation with you. And if you want a quick answer, you might want to use a different type of oracle system. Again, I'm showing you here the books that I use or refer to during my workshops. Here is a list of the books with a short description of what you may find in each of those books. Now, this is the tools you need and the setup. The tool you need, particularly in working with the I Ching, are coins, 3 of them of the same denomination. Some people use the yarrow sticks, which is a wholly different, much longer process. I use 3 cowrie shells and I cleanse them with Florida water. Florida water is often used for purification and cleansing. I also burn incense in order to bring into the area just a nice little peaceful sense. Nang Champ is a great incense to use, but you can use whatever you prefer. Here you will see my layout. I have representations of the 5 elements. That is fire. Here I have water in a glass here. I have the crystals to represent the earth. And of course, the candle burning off is representing air and the ether. I also have my own little tablet. I strongly suggest that you only use this one book for your I Ching readings. Otherwise, you'll have a reading in this book, a reading in that book, and that's not very organized. And you want to keep all of your readings in one place, especially as you grow and grow with consulting the I Ching, because it will show you how you're developing. Here we have someone who is resting and keeping still, like the 50-second hexagram speaks about. Next, we talk about the information that is covered in the workshop. So you could just view this and get some ideas. We do talk about and discuss and teach and show how to build the hexagrams, which you can see right here. I've inserted several pages from the I Ching workbook by R.L. Wing. I think that this information is very comprehensive and can give you some deeper insights and guidance on how to use the oracle. Here you have an opportunity to look at how the hexagrams are built. Hexagram stands for a figure containing 6 lines. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, meaning you must toss your coins 6 times. Again, we'll get into more details in the workshop. This is the chart here of the hexagrams, and what you do is you take the bottom trigram, which is on the left hand corner, and the top trigram is at the top, and you match them. As you go along, you come to the different hexagrams. Each hexagram has a name and a number. More information here. and more information here, especially about the trigrams. Again, you have the chart with the numbers and you have the chart with the hexagrams. Here, what I offer you is an opportunity for your own study. You can look at the hexagram and you can write the name of the hexagram and the number underneath each of these figures. Here you can study, again, testing yourself by matching the top trigram or trigram with the bottom and going across the page and filling in all the numbers, and no cheating. Pay attention, study, not cheat. Here is my unique way of consulting the I Ching. I start by asking the question. Please comment on. In this line right here, you ask your question. Your question is thoroughly thought out. Remember to keep bias out of the questioning. If you ask a biased question, the oracle will respond to your bias. So be careful. Again, moving forward, then I ask, after I get my hexagrams here, I ask for deeper insight. What can you tell me more about this hexagram that I received? So say I received the 5th hexagram. Here I will say, please give deeper insights into the meaning of hexagram number 5. Here is some workspace for you. I call this the hexagram journal, notes and observations. Here you can talk about, write about what you're observing, what you're receiving, some of the things that you don't understand. Just use it for whatever reason or purpose that you find in relation to your work with the I Ching. And finally, gain insight and peace of mind using the I Ching Oracle system. On this page, you will see contact information in order to reach me. I will also put this information in the description below. Now, let's begin looking at Donald J. Trump, incarnation objective aspect of the life path reading. To begin with, Donald John Trump was born on June 14, 1946, which means he's a Gemini, which makes him quite an interesting and very unpredictable individual. And FYI, my mother was born on June 2nd. My brother was born on June 4th. My son was born on June 7th. And my granddaughter was born on June 11th. And my best friend was born on June 15th. So I would say that I have a tiny bit of insight into the spirit of a Gemini. Okay, so let's look at the I Ching readings that I got. For those of you who are familiar with the I Ching, you'll be familiar with the way that I have these numbers and words or titles to the I Ching readings laid out. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I will show you how, teach you how, help you to understand how I constructed these hexagrams. But you have to come to my workshops to learn more. So let's begin. Dear honorable spirits of the I Ching, please comment on the most immediate incarnation objective of Donald J. Trump. The most immediate objective, incarnation objective, is the most prominent aspect or purpose of your life. Why you came here, what you came to learn, and what you came to teach. In our actions every day, we are actually role models for others. And we are also learning from the role models of others. And so this is what these hexagrams are telling us. 34, power of the great, with the top line changing. And like I said, you will get more insight into what it means when you come to my workshops. So for those of you who are familiar, let's move along. For those of you who are not familiar, you'll be learning something new. The top line of 34 is changing. Moving into the second hexagram, which is 14, possession and great measure. And like I showed you earlier, what I do, and this is my unique method, some people utilize the inner trigrams to get deeper insight into the hexagram they receive. Some people use the inverse to get deeper insight into the hexagram that they receive. What I like to use is getting deeper insight in this manner. So what you'll see here is, please give deeper insight into the meaning of hexagram 34. Now, why do I do that? I do that because the 34th hexagram has a standard explanation, but there are nuances to every hexagram. They are so varied from situation to situation. So every 34th hexagram, when it shows itself, doesn't mean exactly the same thing. So when I ask for deeper insight as it relates to this particular question I'm asking about, then the I Ching will show me, in this particular reading, this is how the hexagram is showing up, okay? So we have 18, which is called repair or decay, for the deeper insight into the 34th hexagram, changing into 32, duration. Then we go back and ask deeper insight. I'm tickled because this is so funny. Deeper insight into the 14th hexagram, possession and great measure, and we get the unexpected, changing into the 13th hexagram, fellowship with men. I don't want to make this video too long. I know that people have a lot to do and I may not be able to hold your attention. So I'm going to break this reading down into parts. So this is part 1, okay? Now let's go back. Power of the great. I've done many life path readings, and what I have noticed, that there is a correlative, there is a consistency, there is a connection in the personalities that I've seen of the individuals who have 34, power of the great. Therefore, when I am speaking to you about these readings is coming from my experiences with the I Ching from 1982, which is 42 years ago, up until this moment. And even now, I'm still learning the varying nuances that each hexagram offers. One of the things that happens when you use the oracle often, it actually stimulates or is a catalyst for your intuition. So let's look at this 34. Power of the great. An individual born with this hexagram is born to be great, powerful. They have charisma. When they walk in the room, everybody turns to look. And it sure makes Donald Trump someone to look at, as tall as he is. He walks in the room and everybody looks up because he's so tall. This person has personality that they don't even have to cultivate. It's innate. It's natural. It's also the personality of the narcissist. And I know a lot of people out there were saying, Donald Trump's a narcissist. Well, he can't help it. He was born that way. His soul came through to experience what being a narcissist is like, so to speak. And so he is very charismatic, like the Hitler. Remember, he's Hitler. Well, he has that energy of a Hitler. He really does. Of a Farrakhan or any great leader, Abraham Lincoln. You think of a great leader. Now, a great leader can lead the masses in a good direction or a positive direction, and a great leader can lead the masses in a not so positive direction. So it's really up to the leader themselves to determine how they're going to impact on the masses. But the idea and the reality is they have a very large, humongous impact on the masses. He was born to be a leader. And then it goes into possession in great measure. Now, how do they go together? What it is saying is Donald Trump has a lot of abilities and talents. He's extremely gifted. He is gifted. However, if he does not use his gifts appropriately, and that is sharing them with others, because that's what the I Ching is about. It's not about self-aggrandizement. It's about how you help others, how you improve your surroundings, how you improve the world around you, your family, your loved ones, etc. It is a very heavy burden for a person who is great, born to be great, to also keep in mind what their greatness has as an impact on the masses. And one of the problems that Donald Trump has is he can be so bullheaded, so self-referred, so what do I'm saying? So determined to do things his way or the highway. He is a control freak. That's the other part of 34. 34 people are bossy. They're controlling. They have to have things done their way or no way. Now listen, folks. This is the I Ching saying what people have been saying about Donald Trump since the first time he came out on the scene. The oracle is just showing me and showing those of you who are watching this video what people have been saying about him all along. And I find it very, very interesting. The oracle never ceases to amaze me. So I didn't put these readings here like I didn't toss the coins and say, well, give me 34 and give me 14. It never works that way. You cannot make the oracle respond to you the way you want it to, which is why I love it. It is one of the most incorruptible oracular systems out there. Okay, so we're looking at somebody who's a very powerful man, but he is also very, very willful. He is a control freak, and it has to be his way or the highway. So what ends up happening is because of this brute force that he expresses himself in the world, he ends up having himself caught up more often than he would, I'm sure, prefer. When we look at deeper insight into the 34th hexagram, we're looking at why or how the 34th hexagram is manifesting itself. It's manifesting itself through work on what has been spoiled into duration. So what's happening is part of the reason why he's so bullheaded and so bossy and so strong-willed is because it's in his genetics. Now, why do I say that? Because the 18th hexagram talks about the things that need to be corrected and changed that happened from generations ago, from the father, from the mother, but primarily from the father. Bad habits, things that have not been taken care of. In other words, what I'm saying is that Donald Trump is responding in a manner that his father responded, probably his grandfather responded, and so on and so forth. And he needs to, through this incarnation, correct what has been spoiled. And the oracle says he has the ability to change what has been spoiled. The other aspect of this hexagram is a mental instability. Okay, I didn't make this up, y'all. This is what the oracle is saying about Donald J. Trump. Okay, I didn't make this up. This is what the oracle is saying. When the 18th hexagram shows, it's talking about issues around mental stability, mental health, mental clarity. Okay, mental stability, okay, and some of that mental distortions that go along with it. So within the power of the great, we have a person who has mental issues that need to be addressed. But it's also saying that he is the most apt person to address his mental instabilities. Otherwise, he will appear to be a little off from time to time. The hexagram also changes into duration. Now, duration is a hexagram that discusses a restlessness. There's a restlessness where, because of this power he has, it's hard for him to be still on the inside. It's hard for him to not worry about tomorrow while he's dealing with today. So he seems to be a little anxious. I don't mean anxious where it's an anxiety, but just restless, like can't sit still too long. He may have been diagnosed as having that thing. Where he's hyperactive. I always get those letters mixed up. But anyway, so he may appear to be hyperactive, not able to sit still, always on the move, always on the go. And the oracle is saying that in order to manage this whole thing with this power of the great, he has to deal with his mental health, and he has to learn how to be more centered and don't take on more work or more effort or more activities than he needs to. But he will tend to do that anyway because, and I did mention this earlier, this reading is what you do well, and it's also what you suck at. So there'll be days where Donald Trump will feel like he is completely powerless and he doesn't know anything about anything. And then there will be days where he feels very strong, very willful, very forceful, very controlling. Now we're going to look at possession in great measure, and we're going to look at the deeper insight into that hexagram. Okay, so the possession in great measure is showing us through the unexpected, which is so interesting. Most people probably don't even expect him to be as smart, as gifted, as talented as he is. But also, even for himself, he may do things in an unexpected, unpredictable way. One of the things that I learned about the 25th hexagram, when it shows up, it's only unexpected to us. It's not unexpected when you look at it from a global perspective or from the perspective of the I Ching, right? It's only because we miss the signs. So when the thing that's unexpected shows up, it's like, wow, where did that come from? Okay, so I call this the oh wow hexagram, like, oh wow, how did that happen? The unexpected. Now I'll go back over it a little more deeply to talk to you about the lines. I'm just trying to give you an overview of the reading. And the 25th hexagram goes into fellowship with men, which is who he is sociable. He just has that dynamic where he will work with almost anybody. Donald Trump has biases, but it's not in who he interacts with. So he will interact with anybody. And he typically is working with people from across the landscape, from people who have a whole lot to people who don't have anything. Fellowship with men is talking about an individual who is able to communicate with all types of people. But this individual is also aware of putting people in places where they're most apt to do the best. So he wouldn't give a carpenter the plumber's job, or he wouldn't give the plumber the carpenter's job, or hire a carpenter to do what the plumber should do, or vice versa. What he will do is he feels strongly that the person should be doing the work that they're best to do. Otherwise, the whole operation is out of sync. The other part about it is Donald Trump has a strong urgency within himself for partnerships, not just superficial partnerships, but for deep partnerships. Now, what tends to happen with this is that the partnerships can come through and they can be partners like in a, what do you call it, cliquish kind of thing, where you only hang out with billionaires, or it could be deep-rooted partnerships, like soul-to-soul partnerships. And so he connects on that level with individuals that he comes in contact with. He'll either connect with them in a cliquish way, like make America great again, or he'll connect with them on a very intimate, close level. And those are the people that are in his inner circle. Those are the people that know Donald Trump on a close level, deeply. And so it's very interesting to see him manifest himself. And Donald Trump, I forget, I don't know how old he is, 78? Don't get me. Yeah, 78, I think that's how old he is. Because I'm not good with that. He was born in 46. So y'all figure that out. But anyway, throughout his life, these are the issues and concerns. Now, what happens with the fellowship with men is that sometimes the opposite takes place, and he connects to people who undermine him, who are jealous of him, who do not want him to succeed. And so this is like sort of the opposite of getting along. He ends up creating antagonism, people wanting to tear him down. I am going to tell you again, this is what the oracle has said when I tossed the coins on November 30th, 2024. Okay, so I'm going to end the video here, and I will return again to complete or continue. I don't know how many videos this will take. I don't want to take too much time. I don't want it to be too long. So I'm going to just try to shorten it as much as I can. And if you're interested in learning more about the Book of Changes, the I Ching, by all means, please contact me. The information to contact me is in the description below. You can always email me, and we can set up an appointment for you to get your life path reading, or we can do a reading about anything else that's going on in your mind. Again, I do suggest for your first reading for it to be a life path reading. And by the way, we also do a yearly focus reading, and that reading is done when the new year comes in, or your particular new year. That is when you have your birthday, because your birthday is really your new year. Again, look in the description below and get my information and contact me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and blessings to you, your family, and loved ones.